I can totally see us cooking in this kitchen.
I can totally see us cooking like pros with natural gas.
Oh, I would love to soak in that tub.
I'd love to save energy and money with a natural gas water heater.
I can imagine cuddling up in here.
Because natural gas heating keeps the house comfortable when we need it.
We have to get this house.
We have to get natural gas.
We're investing in infrastructure to help bring comfort and savings to you. Visit centerpointenergy.com/natural gas benefits. CenterPoint Energy, always there.
Same routine. We'll have Coach make his opening statement. Once he does that, we'll go ahead and take some questions. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Coach Oats for his opening statement.
Fortunate to get a win. Happy for the seniors on senior day to get the win. Proud of them for what they've done for the program. It's their team. I tell these guys numerous times. I've been coaching a long time. I've got a lot of years left in coaching. You guys have limited time to play this game. This is your team. You're going to decide what you get out of it. And these seniors have done a good job of taking ownership of this team and doing that. So I'm proud of these guys. I think we're one win away from clinching at least a share of the regular season title, which would be huge for this senior group. So, I want to kind of highlight Alex Reese's play. I thought he was great. He led the team in plus minus. He hit the 2 threes. He hit the huge 3 in the second half. Came out, played well. He was the one. We've got 4 scholarship seniors that I was going to start those 4. He came to me and said, "No, start Tyler Barnes instead of me." I thought about it. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm starting you, but let's start Tyler too. I don't always start all the seniors. And with 7 seniors, it's hard. Now, BJ, has only been here 3 years, graduating early. Kendall just came for the 1 year. So, it made a lot of sense, just the respect that these guys have for Tyler. But that was Reese saying to start him. So we made the decision to start Tyler. I thought the start of the game was good, and I thought it shows where Reese is at. He's all about the right things. He's about the team. He's not about himself, and it's good to get rewarded with a good game. I think, you can look at the value that Herb brings to the team. Obviously, Petty's having an unbelievable year, National Player of the Week. He's playing great on defense. I looked at, like, our defensive analysis. Petty was – our defense was a 1.05. When Petty was in the game, we were 0.92, which shows you how valuable he is to the defensive end. I thought he was really good again today, and he's playing great. And Herb, it wasn't one of Petty. That's the thing where Petty's grown too. Like before, if he goes 1 for 7 from 3 and only scores 6 points, he's probably not helping your team win. But to have that low of efficiency numbers on defense to where he's really guarding, and we're better when he's in the game on the defensive end, I think shows his growth. And then you look at Herb. Herb's got to do better staying in the game. But, if you look at the end, we were up 10, I think, when Herb picks up his 4th foul with just over 9 minutes to go. And he comes out. They go on an 18-6 run, take a lead. He comes back in. We go on a 7-0 run. Get the lead back to clinch it before he fouls out. He's got to do a better job staying in the game, because when he's in the game, we're playing a lot better. The other kind of big run I thought that was big for our guys, we were down 2 kind of after they had a great start to the second half. I think it was 38-36. And then it was an effort play that kind of got us going. We had 3 straight offensive boards. Shaq ends up with a layup to tie it up. And then I think they hit a 3. And then after that, I think we went on that big 19-4 run to go up 12, and that's where Herb picks up his 4th shortly after. So I just, the value that each of these seniors brings. And then Bruner comes in as a grad transfer, just his leadership, his basketball IQ, all the intangibles, all the glue stuff that he brings. He's obviously not back to 100%, but I was super happy he was able to play on senior day, in front of his family. And, he didn't play great numbers-wise, but it was great to have him back on the floor. He had 6 rebounds total in the first half. Just so he could get some game action before we go to Arkansas, I thought was big. So.
All right, thank you, Coach. As a reminder, use the raise hand function, and we'll get your question. And we'll start with Cecil Hurt.
It was kind of an unusual week. You're kind of on again, off again with A&M. good bit of talk the last couple of days about the contract extension. Just was it a difficult week to prepare for this game? When Vandy's always difficult to play.
Yeah, it was a little bit. You know, we were a little out of sync. Didn't play. Didn't know we weren't going to play till, you know, the day before the game. So, you know, if we'd have known we weren't going to play, we definitely would have done the schedule a lot different. But got to, you know, this year you got to make changes on the fly, call audibles. So, you know, and the contract obviously was a little bit of a distraction. You know, you have to, you know, I made sure I talked to a lot of the guys on the phone before it came out, texted the whole team before it came out, just thanked all of them personally. You know, as many as I could get on the phone, a few of them I wanted to talk to personally, just say thanks. Like, there's no chance this is happening without them. You know, if Petty and Herb and Reese don't buy in, if we don't get Bruner to come here, you know, Shaq with the way, like, those guys helped get us here. I wanted to make sure I personally thanked, you know, those players, and then sent out the text. So there was a little bit of a distraction, but I think, you know, Greg Byrne did it pretty well. We got it done pretty quick. It wasn't, I had a talk with him one day. It was done the next day, and it was kind of over. I had to answer some press questions in the press conference, return a few texts, and that was it. But, I mean, it was a little bit of a distraction, but, you know, I thought it wasn't much of a distraction for the players. And then, you know, obviously, senior day tends to be a little bit of a distraction too. Like, those have gone poorly at a lot of different places sometimes, just with some emotions and maybe not focused quite on everything. But I think our seniors did a good job. You know, our defense wasn't very good today. That I'm gonna be honest with you. That a lot of that credit goes to Vanderbilt. I think this is one of the better coach teams in our league. I've got a lot of respect for Coach Stackhouse. I mean, I told him that before the game. Like, I love watching Vanderbilt attack different defenses. If they've played the team before we play them, I think he does a great job. I think he understands the game. They do a good job. They've got good players. You know, they shoot a lot of threes similar to us. I mean, they hit 10 threes on way fewer attempts than we did. They were way more efficient. You know, we were able to turn them over a little bit more. And, you know, otherwise we don't win the game. So I think they do a great job. So a lot of the credit goes to them. And then we got to make shots. I mean, if you're going to take 39 threes, you know, which I had no problem taking 39 threes. You know, if they're good shots, take them. But we've got to have our shooters knocking down some shots. We got to get back in the gym. We got to work on it. We got to start making some threes.
Tony Sakalas, you're next.
Nate, can you go into the decision to start Tyler and more just the discussion you had with him when you told him he was going to get the start?
Yeah, I didn't tell him until shortly before the game. I mean, Reese talked to JP, Herb, and Reese, you know, told them what the plan was, told them we were going to start in the zone, and then Reese kind of came up to me after our first team meeting, really, with about maybe 35 minutes before game time, and said, no, don't start me. I want you to start Tyler instead of me. So then I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, let me think about it. I went back out, talked to Reese. I'm like, here's what I'm doing. You're starting. Like, I want you to start. Like Reese's attitude has been unbelievable. He's been exactly what we need him to be. You know, and he's not making shots at the level maybe that I know he can, but he plays hard, and his attitude's been great, and he's more than capable of making. I mean, he shot 40% from three this game, which in my mind, I think he's that good a shooter where he could do it every game. You know, and shooters don't always shoot, which they're capable. I mean, John Petty's one of the best shooters in the country. He goes, you know, 1 for 7 a day. That's not indicative of him. And I think Reese maybe's been a little bit of a slump all year, but his attitude's been unbelievable. So when he said that, he got me thinking. So then I went out. I told Reese what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start you. I'm going to start Tyler. We're going to start in the zone. I talked to Charlie with the defense, and, you know, I thought they did a good job. We gave up that 1-3 early in the zone, which wasn't good, but I thought they did a pretty good job of it. And Tyler was, I could tell by his face when I told him he was going to start, he was super excited. And he's a great kid. Like, for those, you know, he doesn't get to play that much, but you see him on the side. We've got a lot of guys that are about the right stuff. Reese is completely about the right things, with just his mindset. Tyler, BJ, those walk-ons, and all. I think we got a great group of walk-ons. Kendall's been playing hard for us in practice, so it was great to be able to start Tyler and just kind of see the look on his face when I told him, see him play hard. He got that rebound in there, so I was happy for him.
Drew DeArmond.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to ask you about Keon Ellis. I thought he gave you some really good energy off the bench. He almost like a Herb Jones stat line, 8 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal and a block.
He's kind of been doing that for a while for us, to be honest with you. I mean, he's 6'5", long and athletic. He's quick enough to stay in front of a lot of guards. If he does get beat, his recovery's great. He got beat a couple times a day, comes back, gets a strip, gets a block. He's been rebounding really hard. I mean, he got 4 offensive rebounds today. He led the team. And, Reese had 3, he had 4. Nobody else had more than 1. And to be honest, there's only, I think, 3 other guys even had an offensive rebound. So he had 40% of our offensive rebounds. His effort's great, led the team in rebounding. He's been a integral part of what we've been able to do here this year so far. And moving forward, he's still got 2 years left after this year because this year doesn't count. I just think his upside, he's going to continue to get stronger. On the weight room plan, he can shoot it. There's not a whole lot he can't do, and I love his size, his athleticism, his attitude, his effort. He's been, you look. I mean, Reese led the team in plus minus with plus 23, and then him and Quinterly were second at plus 12, and it's usually like that. I mean, if you go back and look at plus-minus numbers, we're usually a lot better when Keon Ellis is in the game. We're usually a lot better on the defensive end with in his points per possession when he's in the game because he does all that little stuff.
Let's go to Charlie Potter next.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned it in your opening, but how big is it to get Bruner back and starting to get back in a rhythm with 3 games to go?
I mean, it's huge. We need him back. Plays great for us. Him and and Rojas is getting healthier again. So, if we can have all 3 of those guys available, if we have to go big and play 2 together, we can. But, I thought Reese played well. Bruner, again, his stat line wasn't great, but he hasn't played for over a month. So, expect him to be a little rusty. So, it was big for us to get him game minutes, before we go to Arkansas and play. So, and if you look, I mean, I'm looking right now at our defensive efficiency numbers. His defensive leverage is strong. I mean, he led the team tonight. Our team defense was a 1.05, and we were a 0.88. It's the lowest of anybody when he's in the game. I mean, his talk anchors us. His IQ, he sniffs out plays. He rebounds the ball well. He guards the post. There's so many little things that don't show up on a box score. But when he's in the game, our defensive leverage is really good. So it's good to get him back.
We got 4 more questions in the queue, so we're going to finish with these 4. Let's start. Cecil Hurt, you got a follow-up?
Coach, you played Arkansas earlier, but they've really seemed to have turned their season around. I know you hadn't scouted them yet, but just the differences you might have noticed.
I've seen them, yeah. I mean, we haven't scouted them yet, but I've seen them play enough, whether they're playing teams that we play or whether they're playing just a game when we're off and, you turn on SEC Network or watch SEC games on ESPN or whatever. I've seen them play enough since we played them. They're playing significantly better than they were when we played them here. They're moving the ball great. Their defense is markedly improved. Their pace on off, they're playing well. I think their record indicates it, their effort, but, they're the second best team in the league right now, behind us. And to be honest with you, if they had played today, they based on the way we played today, they probably would have looked better than us, to be honest with you. So we've got our hands full. It's on the road at their place. They, we're going to see if our leadership, our guys on the team can get this thing right because our defense was not good today. And if it's like it was today at Arkansas, we're not winning the game. So we got to get better defensively. We got to make some shots or they're going to beat us. And our staff knows that. Our players, we made it clear after the game that what type of game this is. So we're off tomorrow. Our Monday, Tuesday prep and practice have to be, they got to be really locked in. It's got to be top-notch preparation going into that game.
Let's go to Steve Moulton.
Coach, congrats on the win. If you could speak to, especially, I realize you only turned over the ball 9 times, but it felt like half of those was under the last minute of regulation of just ball security and kind of end-of-game scenarios. But certainly grinding it out and getting the win. What does this mean maybe for the growth of this team as you head into March?
Yeah, we didn't close well. I mean, gave up the 3 in transition, gave up the offensive board there where Shaq missed the checkout. Ted, the turnovers, Keon throwing it right to the other team. We've got to do a better job closing games. Would have helped to have Herb available. I think, he strong, gets loose balls, does better. We gave up a couple threes late, to be honest with you. We screwed up a switch we should have had. They hit a 3, and then we just gave up Maxwell Evans that dribble up 3. So, yeah, I wasn't happy with the close. I mean, we closed well enough to win, but it wasn't ideal. The turnovers overall, over the whole 40 minutes, I was really happy with. We had a few kind of home run plays that we tried to make that were almost there but not quite there that we got to do a better job of. So, we got to take care of the ball, but I thought the biggest issue was just our defense today, to be honest with you. We just weren't as locked in as we typically are. And like I said before, a lot of that credit goes to Vandy and the job that Coach Stackhouse is doing with them. But, to give up 49 points in the second half, we're not playing very good D.
Let's go to Drake Hills, and then we'll finish with Scott Griffin. Go ahead, Drake.
Yeah, thanks, Coach Oates. Tennessean here from based in Nashville, covering Vanderbilt. You talked about how your team defended today, and obviously, as you mentioned again, how great coaching that they have. Exactly the tangibles on their offensive end. What exactly kept them in the game that way? What exactly was giving your team trouble?
I mean, Jerry's coached, in the G League, won championships there. He knows what he's doing, like at a high level. Like, and they're running an NBA system. I think they play as similar to us as probably anybody in the league. He gets to the mismatches. He attacks your weaknesses on D. You come out of a time. You look at his ATOs, his after timeout plays. They're good. They're really good. And they've got hundreds of them. I mean, they're running more plays than anybody in the league. And I think he gets his guys shots where they need to get shots. I mean, he does a really good job with Pippen and his skill set. And they also do a good job with player development. I think Pippen and Dessou are 2 of the most improved players in the league from last year, and I thought they were pretty good last year. I mean, they beat us at our place last year. So I think their spacing, the way they attack, they know who your weaknesses are on D, and they go right at them. And then I think their ball movement, their unselfishness, and then just their overall skill level with the way they've spaced the floor makes it hard to guard those guys.
All right, let's finish up with Scott Griffin here.
Nate, with the way you coach, you try to do one of those 3 things well. You try to do all 3, but this is one of the few games where all of them were not, or one of the 3 weren't good, and that is the threes. Obviously, the defense you've already talked about. It was pretty good first half, last 10 minutes. But the drives, Shaq had half of them. So you did well. You were efficient on the drives, but Shaq having half of them, I know, was probably troublesome to you, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, like rim shots. I mean, we were 15 at 20 is what our analytics company has us for, which is pretty good. But yeah, Shaq took over half of them. He took 12 out of the 20. So, and Shaq didn't have a very good shooting day from 3. He's a shooter that's maybe struggling. He's 1 for 9, but if he's 1 for 9 from 3, he's 9 for 12 on rim shots. That's pretty good. If he doesn't do that, we don't win the game. So he's been probably our most aggressive guy getting downhill. We've got to get some other guys playing downhill a lot harder, more aggressive, attacking the closeouts. When they're closing, you're going on catch. I think, Shaq's improved a lot. I mean, you look at his attacking downhill, playing in pick and roll, being a distributor, being a playmaker. Like, he's gotten good at that. I mean, so, you look at his numbers. He had 27 points and shot 1 for 9 from 3. I mean, think about if he shoots a normal, just even a average to poor percentage for him. 3, that's another 6 points, you know. If he shoots a decent 4 or 5, which he's more than capable of, he's, you know, pushing 40. So I think that shows where he's grown in a lot of other areas. But I know he's not happy with his 3-point shooting, and I'm sure he'll be in the gym working because he's a worker. He works hard. He'll be in here.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
What?